Hello, my name is Ryder Searle, and this is my parent interview presentation. So, for the purpose of this presentation, the student that I am going to be talking about, I'm just going to name Jimmy. So, Jimmy, he has a congenital malformation of the cerebellum. And so, this is just kind of the back part of the brain, and basically what it is, it's just underdeveloped. It didn't form quite right. And so this causes him to kind of learn at a first and second grade level. Jimmy is like a senior in high school, and so he's learning at a first or second grade level, and he's taught at this level. So like basic addition, subtraction, things like that for math. And so some of the behaviors that Jimmy has is that he can be very OCD, so he can be very hyper obsessed. And so because he's very hyper obsessed, he can get these ideas in his head, and it's really hard for him to let those ideas go. And so one of those is that he understands that he has a disability. He's not quite normal like everyone else, and so because he understands that, he'll have suicidal thoughts because he figures like, oh, I'll be perfect in heaven. So if I can be perfect in heaven, why would I still want to live here? And so he really kind of struggles with that. He can get really aggressive, so sometimes he'll punch in walls or throw over chairs, things like that. He never hurts other people. He's very, very kind to others, but he can just be really hard on himself and aggressive sometimes. And he also has schizophrenia. So some of the interventions in school is the special education classroom. He obviously has that. They're teaching him how to reach out when he needs help. And so like whenever he's feeling those certain thoughts, or if he's feeling really aggressive, asking others to help him. So basically just reaching out when he's feeling those things. They're helping him handle his anxiety. He can get super anxious, which can cause some of his aggression. They're teaching him different techniques to help him calm him down. Some of those is like handling his anxiety, reaching out when he needs help. And also the parents are very involved. They are very helping when it comes to his school, different things to help him at home, and they collaborate with his main teacher all the time, just with his behaviors and things that they can do to help. So some of the outside of school interventions, he's part of a soccer league with other students and people in the similar situation that Jimmy is in. He has this daycare service that helps him with social skills, behavior skills, things like that. And they're looking into an adult daycare service since he's a senior. He will be graduating soon. And so they're looking to get him in like an adult daycare service where he can live there and not have to be in the house, and he can kind of be on his own with others. And so not being in large crowds really make him anxious, which can lead to a lot of problems like OCD and being aggressive. And so they try to avoid that with him. He takes medication, psychotic medication, to help with his schizophrenia and those thoughts that kind of rattle around in his head. And also another intervention is just exploring his passions. He loves to read. He loves to read the Bible. He's not doesn't always understand what he's reading, but he's learning how to. Soccer is a huge passion. Hanging out with his brothers. He has four other brothers, and so he loves hanging out with them. And he also loves to watch SpongeBob. Parent expectations. So some of the expectations that they have from, obviously they're not like crazy expectations, or they have a lot, but they really want him to treat himself well. As I said, he can have suicidal thoughts and be very aggressive and hard on himself. And so just learning how to deal with those emotions and those thoughts, and just to be able to treat himself well. And like any parent, they want him to be happy. They want him to thrive and be happy, and he realizes he has a disability, but they want him to be happy regardless of that. And they also want him to live on his own. He also wants to live on his own when he graduates. He understands that he is getting older, and he wants to be out on his own. And so being part of this adult daycare service is going to be huge for him. His parents, expect him to be nice to others. They say he's always very kind to other people, but sometimes when he gets anxious, he can not treat others bad, but he'll just get really aggressive and things like that. And also reaching out when he needs help instead of being destructive towards things and in himself. And so that's a huge expectation for him, is just to be able to reach out and get help. Finally, the behavior functions. They haven't done an official FBA, one of those assessments, but obviously they know one of the functions of his behavior is just the underdeveloped cerebellum and the malfunction there. And so that's kind of one of the functions. And obviously anxiety. So anxiety, he has anxiety-driven OCD, and so just kind of handling that is big for him. Because when he gets an idea, it's really hard for him just to let it go. And so these are some of the functions. And that was basically the gist of my parent interview. It was very helpful in just understanding different disabilities and just, understanding that kind of behavior. And this is my references. Thank you very much for listening.